He found her chained in the hold. She whispered, "Don't free me. Only chains keep the monster sleeping." Beginning, the freighter Aurora Drift smelled of rust, oil, and fear. Captain Elias Rourke wasn't supposed to be here. He had come aboard the derelict only because the salvage beacon had been pulsing weakly through the stormy gas fields of Dathos 4. By law, any vessel abandoned and drifting in the frontier lanes was salvageable. If you could claim it, you could own it. Elias had expected a stripped ship, maybe some loose plasma coils, or, if he was lucky, a navigation core. What he hadn't expected was a silence. The Aurora Drift was too intact, its lights too dimly pulsing, as if the ship itself still breathed. He swept through the empty corridors, rifle at the ready, boots echoing. The life support was barely functioning. Frost crept along the walls where conduits had ruptured. He found no bodies. No crew, not even blood. Just a hollow thrum of power cycling in the distance. Then he found the hold. The door was sealed with 4 heavy magnetic locks. Overkill for a standard cargo bay. Someone had welded plates over the control panel, then smashed the manual override. Yet the door creaked open slightly under his push, like someone or something had weakened it from the inside. Inside, shadows pooled. His headlamp cut a pale beam through the gloom, glinting off chains. She was there, a woman shackled to the bulkhead. Her arms were bound with thick alloy restraints. Her ankles locked to the floor. Chains webbed around her like a cocoon. She was pale, her skin almost translucent, her eyes a strange molten amber. Her hair fell like dark silk across her face, and though her lips were cracked from thirst, when she spoke, her voice was steady. "Don't free me." Elias froze, rifle raised. What the hell happened here? "Who are you?" Her gaze lifted, piercing and sad. "It doesn't matter. Just listen. These chains are not for me. They're for you. For everyone. If you break them, if you think you're saving me, you'll unleash something you can't control." He stepped closer, frowning. "The Aurora Drift, where's the crew? What did they do to you?" She whispered, "They chained me because I begged them to. Because only chains keep the monster sleeping." Middle, Elias didn't believe in monsters. He'd been a soldier in the Orion Wars, seen colonies glass from orbit, seen biotech nightmares unleashed by corporations desperate to win. He knew human cruelty, not fairy tales. But the way she looked at him, like she was fighting some unseen tide within herself, made his stomach knot. Her name, she eventually told him, was Kaylin. She had been part of the crew, but not by choice. The Aurora Drift had been ferrying experimental cargo for a syndicate Elias had only heard of in rumors. The Red Sigil. Illegal bioweapons. Things designed to adapt, mutate, and annihilate. Kaylin had been their volunteer. Except the experiment had gone wrong. Or right, depending on whose perspective. The parasite or symbiote inside her had bonded too completely. Instead of killing her, it had made her something else. Something stronger. "They wanted a weapon," she whispered in the half-light of the hold. "They got me. When I lost control the first time, 3 of the crew died before I could even understand what was happening. They chained me here. They thought they could find a cure, or at least contain me long enough to sell me to the highest bidder. But then the hunger started. It wasn't mine, but it was in me. And the crew, one by one, they vanished. I don't know if I killed them in my sleep or if they ran." Her voice trembled, though her face stayed calm. "Please, Elias, don't touch the chains. Don't listen if I beg later. Because the thing inside me, it's always trying to wake." Elias should have walked away. Should have sealed the hold and called it in for quarantine. But he didn't. Something about Kaylin struck him. Maybe her raw honesty. Maybe the way her eyes held centuries of sorrow, though she couldn't have been older than 30. Or maybe it was because he too knew what it was like to be chained by something inside, something you couldn't put down. His memories of the Orion Wars haunted him every night. He came back the next day and the next. He brought water, food. She ate sparingly, as if afraid of feeding whatever lived within her. In those days, as storms raged against the derelict ship outside, Elias learned more. She had moments where her skin seemed to ripple, where her eyes glowed brighter, where her voice would split into 2 tones. The chains would rattle, not from her movements, but as if resisting something pulling against them. And at night, he heard it, whispers through the hull, a sound like claws on steel, breathing that wasn't hers. Still, he stayed. He began to wonder if maybe she wasn't a monster, but a prisoner. Maybe the red sigil had lied. Maybe the symbiote wasn't some uncontrollable beast. Maybe she was strong enough to master it, if someone just believed in her. "Elias," she said one day, weak from starvation, "if you free me, I can't promise you'll survive. I can't promise anyone will. But if you leave me, I'll die here, slowly, chained like an animal. Which fate is kinder?" He didn't answer, but the decision was forced. The breaking point. On the 6th day, the scavenger raiders came. Elias heard the clang of docking clamps, the heavy boots storming the Aurora Drift. Raiders were vicious in the outer lanes, stripping ships, killing witnesses, enslaving survivors. He had no chance against a dozen armed looters. Unless he ran to the hold. Kalen's eyes snapped open as he entered, wild with fear. "No, Elias, don't. They'll kill us both," he said, tearing at the magnetic locks. His fingers burned as he jammed his override spike into the control box. Sparks flew. The first chain fell. Kalen screamed, not in relief, but in terror. "You don't understand. The hunger." The second lock released. The third. The raiders were coming closer. He could hear them pounding down the corridor, laughing. The last chain dropped. Kalen fell forward, gasping, her body convulsing. Elias caught her, but her skin burned hot under his touch. Her eyes blazed molten gold. Black veins rippled under her skin, spreading like wildfire. The hold shook. Something else breathed with her lungs. The raiders burst through the doorway. They raised their rifles, then froze. Kalen rose slowly to her feet, no longer fragile, no longer weak. The air thickened with low thrumming sound, like a predator growling through her chest. The first raider fired. Kalen moved faster than sight. The bullet flattened against her arm as if her skin had become living armor. She lashed out, her hand piercing through his chest like a blade. The others screamed. Some fired wildly, bullets ricocheting off bulkheads. Some ran. It didn't matter. Kalen hunted them like shadows hunting prey. Chains still clung to her wrists, swinging like whips, slicing men in half. Her screams mingled with the shrieks of the thing inside her, until Elias could no longer tell if it was two voices, or one. When it was over, the hold dripped with blood. Kalen collapsed to her knees, trembling, covered in gore. Her eyes dimmed, human again, wet with tears. "I told you," she whispered. "I told you only the chains keep the monster sleeping." Ending. Elias should have run. Should have left her there, locked the hold, and fled before she woke again. But he didn't. Instead, he carried her, half-conscious, back to his ship, the Vagrant's Mercy. He cleaned her wounds, though they closed too quickly, as if she wasn't entirely flesh anymore. When she woke, she wept. "You should have let me die there. Now the hunger will grow. Every day it gets stronger. One day, Elias, I won't come back from it." He looked at her, war-worn, scarred, and said quietly, "Then we'll fight it together." From that day on, they weren't captain and prisoner or soldier and weapon. They became something else. Survivors, bound by choice instead of chains. But Elias always remembered the words she had whispered when he first found her chained in the hold. Words that haunted him as much as his own war memories. "Don't free me. Only chains keep the monster sleeping." And as the Vagrant's Mercy burned its way into the stars, he couldn't help but wonder if, one day, those chains would be needed again. Because sometimes the greatest danger isn't the monster you fight. It's the monster you set free, believing you could save it.